Another cool movie. But before we get off talking about cartoons, this weekend was pretty big. WrestleMania weekend, baby. Did you guys catch WrestleMania?
Dude, I did.
My man. My man. I watched so much WrestleMania this
Oh,
weekend.
it's so good, man. It just felt like, I'll cut to the end of it just for now, but like, it felt good watch. The wrestling can be so awesome when it's like, even though Cody was gonna win, like it just felt this like, I don't know, just the ending of WrestleMania just felt so like awesome. You know what I mean? Like it was just like this new era. Everyone's just like hugging each other.
Oh, I was in tears when he was handed the belt over to his mom and
Yeah.
kind of just bowed. I was in tears.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna just instantly burst this bubble wide open. Okay. I'm glad Cody quote unquote finished his story. I'm glad of that. That's good. Or started the next chapter, however they want to put it. I'm just gonna say I do not understand anything about so much of the costuming this year. There was Jen looked at Cody when he came out and she was like, he's like a bald eagle. Like
I think that's what he was
and
going for.
and that was the first night. It was like George Washington with like frosted tips. Like it was
George
I was
Washington with frosted tips.
it was wild. And then
Damn.
this
It's not like he
and
hasn't dressed like that for is like the past like 5 years.
no, I
Well,
totally
and
get it.
think about where he's come from too, because back when he was in WWE before, they put him in the stupidest gimmicks
Yeah, they gave
and
him
have him doing the
they gave him
silliest stuff.
Stardust, man. He was Gold Dust, basically. The shittier
It-
version of Gold Dust.
Right. You remember the clear
Oh yeah, when he broke
like
his
American
face.
Psycho
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing he did
He
too?
had to protect his face. But that's what makes Cody great, though, is that he
He
was able.
stuck with it.
He stuck with it, able to get it, and then was like, "Fuck you guys," leaves, then comes back and becomes world champ, becomes the face of the company.
Yeah.
it's mind-boggling. But then there's also this thing like so there's just a weirdness with him in general. I don't know what it is. For me, I don't know what it is. I'm a bigger Gold Dust guy. Like there's something that
Well, tonight,
feels
currently on Dynamite, Gold Dust Dustin Reynolds is facing Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship tonight.
yup. I saw that he was back and like that's fire. That's good. That's good. I've been watching a bunch of old clips. I've had to stop with what I'm doing. Uh, and again, I don't want to go too into it, but there have been things that have been taking over my life recently, and I've had to kind of stop my raw watch through, and but I still find time for what do you call it, like reels. So I've been watching a lot of Gold Dust reels recently,
Hell yeah.
and
He was at Mania. I saw photos of him and Ricky Starks out in the crowd watching his
oh well,
brother win.
if your brother, yeah, if your
Yeah.
brother's gonna be there, you're gonna be there, right? Right? But that's night two. What about night one?
Yeah, so
Where
I was
we
just
ended
skipping
night
to the end
one?
there. But out of Liz, did you have a favorite moment in night one or night two of WrestleMania
Um,
match?
I was really I don't this is ugly of me. I don't like the man at
Becky
all. Like
Lynch?
I've never been a fan of
Damn.
hers.
I
Like
love Becky
I
Lynch.
can't get behind her and I want to real bad. I really do, but I just can't. And I was so stoked. That match, I mean, she did great
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
Rhea. Like she really
Mommy.
held her own.
See, the dogs agree.
They dogs are big mommy marks. Yeah.
Loretta was also like, fuck the man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm
But
mommy all
I
day.
mean, I just like it was probably the first time in her career that I've seen her in a match where I was like, wow, she's actually like I feel a sort of way.
Yeah. And that opened Mania, too. Like, what an opener.
With Motionless and White
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
with Rhea coming out, that was pretty kick ass.
I love
It,
the
it,
finish, too, where she, like, throws Becky with the riptide into the turnbuckle and then hits a second riptide. Like, almost back to, like, literally back to back.
Whew.
It was just beautiful.
there was throughout this Mania, there was a lot of like back to back like signature moves and back to back like finishers. I I don't know, man. Like there, for me, a big kind of standout moment, and I don't really like him as a human or as necessarily a wrestler, but Logan Paul did some fun stuff in the air. I'm not even gonna
It's
pretend
hard
he
for
did.
me to like admit that
Yeah,
Logan Paul is a good wrestler
same
because he
way.
doesn't belong there.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I feel the same.
but I
But he's a
mean,
good wrestler.
when he threw that, what was it? When he comes off that top rope, he does that giant splash, and then he just bounces onto other dude and is like and catches the pin from that. Like
Ooh.
it was flawless. It was literally
Mhm.
like flawless. It was like
Well,
I don't know.
I can still
But I
make do
feel
it out of the goddamn Prime everywhere.
that bothered me.
The giant prime in the truck takes me over the edge. Like the giant bottle. That's
Oh
just
God,
so
yeah.
that's like having the giant Pop Tart or all that stuff. We don't need that.
Yeah, that's my
The
biggest critique of this whole Mania. Is just I mean, I get it; they made lots of money, but all the ads, just in general, there was
Well, I
advertisements
love
everywhere.
that during Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley, it's going dude wipes.
Yeah,
Dude wipes.
during Jay Cargill's
Wow.
match, that 6-man tag, it was just Wingstop throughout everywhere.
I mean, I saw
Snickers.
Yeah,
Snickers everywhere. Eh, okay, cool. You got over 140. What was it? Snoop said 145,420 people
yeah,
there, like, over the course of the weekend. So yeah, I mean, shit, flashy sign everywhere. If only we could have afforded a spot there, that would be amazing.
just trauma,
Toonular.
Toonular plastered like right there in the ring. That would be sick. Better than
Just
Wingstop and Prime.
all over the place, right? But apart from that, I guess what bothered me, because they said it was like the first time ever that they had a logo smack in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
You know, the Prime logo in the middle of the it just it does take away, I
Yeah.
think, when you
And
put your advertising
originally
there.
when they revealed it, like Logan Paul did like a reveal on Raw or SmackDown. I forget which one it was, but it was it was a colored logo. And I'm assuming at some point someone was like, we can't have this bright colored Prime bottle in the middle of the ring, because at Mania it's not colored, which makes it
That
look a lot
outline.
better, but still sucks.
Yeah, the stuff on the jumbotrons and on the banners around everything, that I get, but you put that right smack in the middle.
Yeah. It's just like
that
It
yeah.
felt
makes
dirty.
you like you realize you're living in idiocracy, which we already know that
Yeah.
anyways. But
Mhm.
it's big time when you
Especially
see
if
those
The Rock
advertisements
actually runs for
everywhere.
president, then we definitely be living
God.
idiocracy.
Could you imagine?
Instead of Brondo, it's gonna be Prime, and like The Rock is the president.
What?
That giant prime bottle
Yeah.
is vice president.
So night one had to happen the way that it happened
Yeah.
in order for the story to finish the way that it should, against all the odds, right?
Yeah.
'Cause it was Bloodline rules because they won the tag
The
match.
tag match was a
So
lot of fun, because I was like, not that
Mhm.
I honestly I'm a little upset over the Jay and Jimmy match. I thought that was gonna be a lot better, so I was kind of like slowing down before that. Then the Sammy match happened, that kind of brought me back, but I was just like, I was kind of getting a little tired. I was like, all right, this Mania is cool. I wasn't like super hyped, but the main event really, I thought was a lot of fun.
What if I go out on a limb and make everybody hate me and say that the Jay and Jimmy, all of that is worthless?
I don't care
Yeah,
about them.
I didn't care
It's
either.
just worthless. I appreciate who they are. I appreciate their lineage, but the whole fight and like bringing them in to help out too, dumb. Like I didn't need that either. I needed that about as much as I needed a big prime bottle in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, that was no Owen Hart, Bret Hart match, at all.
No.
No.
And I get that they're big mainstays and everything,
Yeah.
but like again, and maybe I'm late to back to what's new, but Maybe I don't get their full backstories, whatever. Or maybe I've just always tuned them out. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm guilty of that, but they don't seem to matter as much to me, Jay and Jimmy Uso.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
I
Jay's getting
did.
popular though. Jay is getting he gets a pop.
I liked. Oh God, what is it? Priest cashing in,
Yeah,
right?
that was night 2, which was that whole
Yeah.
the beginning. Honestly, I enjoyed night 2 a lot more. I thought night 2 really moved. Maybe because it had a little bit less. I think it had a less match, so maybe
Right.
because also night 1 of WrestleMania, I watched wrestling from about 6, 7 o'clock all the way to about 1:30 a.m. because Collision came on like right after Mania around 11:30. So it was like just a long day of wrestling, and I felt like the second day just kind of moved pretty fast in a good way.
It did. It did. Which night was Gunther and Sammy was night 1,
Yeah,
right?
which was shout out to Sammy finishing his story.
So here's what I thought was nuts, and I kind of loved it. I kind of loved it. You realize it was the day of the beast for Gunther.
666.
666 days and gone. Gone. It makes me wonder, like, so they talk about these big, huge events, right? Like the Super Bowl gets it every year. They talk about like, and it is a night, we talked about him a minute ago, but God bless. I sure wish Leo was here right now because like, I'm going to dip into some conspiracy theory because like it's in these big performances, like the Grammys catches it every year. The Super Bowl gets it every year with the halftime show. They talk about like ritual. They talk about all of this stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it makes me wonder if they're not like nefarious sort of like satanic rituals happening inside the WWE to kind of cleanse it.
So you're trying to tell me that the WWE didn't plan this at all? The company that plans, everything.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying, right? Like, what if they're baking in ritual into the thing where they know every eye is on there? And in light of recent controversy, what if this is some giant cleansing ritual?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like
to make Cody go over. They're like, please make Cody work and let CM Punk heal up so we can make more money.
all of these little things, all of this changing of the guard, all of this newness that's happening inside of it, right? Like the fact that Gunther loses his belt on night 1 on the 666, I think this is secret society shit, y'all. I think we were a part of some mass ritual.
Well, if we were, this is the kind of ritual I want to be a part of. Yeah, night 2 opening match, Rollins versus Drew, which was also amazing. Drew totally deserved it. I loved how it all went down. Because, Drew won the world title back in 2020 at Mania. He beat Brock, but there was no crowd, right? Empty arena, empty studio. So to see him actually win and have 80,000 whatever fucking people were there, it's just pretty awesome. And then, the whole CM Punk twist where he kind of just screws, Drew was fucking with him too much. He screwed him over. And then, Damian comes in, cashes his Money in the Bank. It's just, that's the kind of shit I love about wrestling. That's and now, Drew gets to feed that story more and carry that on. Damian still gets to be champ.
Coming back to get what's mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's,
stole his moment.
So, did you guys watch any of the press conferences afterwards?
I did. My favorite's night 1 of Roman because he just starts talking shit the whole time. He was so somebody asks a weird question. He's like, nope, not you. He yells at some lady to just leave. He was like, I'm gonna walk. You gotta go. You gotta leave right now.
I'm not kidding. I'm not even playing. No, you've got to go.
Yeah.
So funny. And we haven't even talked about her yet, but Bailey, come on, what?
Oh, Bailey, hell yeah. Hey, Bailey. Ooh. I fucking love Bailey. She deserves it so much.
She was,
and the match was
my
great.
favorite part of the press conferences.
Yeah, because she
was Bailey in night 2.
Yeah, right. She was all kind of like talking it up, right? She was like, "I'm the veteran," or whatever, and kind of said some shit about Rhea.
And then she was also though very much like a rambling Stan at that point. Like she at a certain point she was just talking to talk. I think I don't even think
Yeah.
Bailey knew what she was saying, and it was
Cocaine's a hell of a
hysterical.
drug.
I mean,
That's what I got from that conference.
uh-huh.
Press conference. Speaking of press and things being released, did you guys see today that Tony Khan is supposed to be releasing
Yes,
the Punk thing with Jungle Boy tonight?
I know, and I'm on air right now, so I'm gonna watch it after we get off air. But
How is that even like if that's real? Like I was under the impression that none of that was a work. Like I really have not
I
thought
mean,
that
it
any of that
wasn't.
was a
If
work.
CM Punk talked about it also recently on a podcast, and that's why Tony Khan is releasing it because CM Punk talked a lot of shit, but he called Tony Khan a clown, and he was like, "This whole business
How
place."
can he legally release it?
I don't know. I mean, it probably is a work to be completely honest.
Y-
Said who knows?
That now it's making me think if this is what he's gonna do and Ed Punk is in it, I'm like, wow, it actually was a work and they pulled one right over us.
No, but Punk did not say anything nice. In his most recent podcast interview about it. It's pretty funny, which is like, I was actually talking to our good friend, friend of the show, Liam, about it, and it's like, man, biggest WrestleMania of all time. All this shit, Cody's finishing his story, all this Bailey winning the title, and still, all anyone wants to talk about is CM Punk and AEW. That's it.
This is great. So, real quick, just in the chat, we've got a couple of our favorite folks. We've got Dwayne Steele, the Whiplash
Steele.
Maniac, here every single week, and then we also have the notorious friend of the show, Babette Bombshell,
Babette.
hanging out with us tonight. So, so welcome.
Yes.
Bab says. Borderline smug about not knowing who any of these wrestlers are. we cannot lose our core audience. We cannot lose our
No.
core audience.
Hey, well, I mean, John Cena showed up. The Undertaker was there. The Rock.
Okay, can Liz, please, yeah, go for it.
I'm sure y'all saw this in a story of mine, but so when all that's happening, I'm like, dude, I've got to get my bath because, it's getting late. Got to work tomorrow. I've got to get my bath. So I'm just like, I'll catch up with it. I already know, like, we saw Cody come out. We know this is like, I know from working behind the scenes in wrestling for the time that I did, all of this is scripted. We know who's going to win before they make it even, to the ring. So we could both see in Cody's face he's gonna win tonight.
Yeah,
like
it's
we
his
already
night,
knew.
for sure.
So I was like, I'm just gonna go take my bath and you just fill me in and I'll watch it later. And I'm laying in the bathtub and the water's running, and the Undertaker had just come out behind the Rock, and it like they did the dong.
Yeah.
And I was like, that motherfucker! I thought Brandon was in here ordering Taco Bell because when you order on the app and you're done, it goes boom.
Boom.
But I couldn't hear the tone of it because I was in the bathtub and I was all stoked. I just shot up out of the bathtub and got my stuff on and I was like, yay, we're going to go get Taco Bell. And came in here and I heard it again and I was like disappointed. I was like, it's the Undertaker. It's not Taco Bell.
So I had the exact opposite reaction. They got me on that pop. Like they really
pretty
did.
Great. It's pretty great.
I heard that bong and I was like, no. And then Rock's still facing the wrong way as he always, right?
Yeah.
You hear it again, bong, and those lights go out and you're like, oh shit. And everybody's fucking freaking out. That like night one was great, but like the matches were great. Cena coming out, all of that stuff was awesome. But dude, and then there's Taker right behind him, and it's like it felt like 1998 all over
It did.
again.
My whole heart, like I was just like, once I turned around and saw him and got through the disappointment of not having the Cinnabites.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, I was like, wow. And it, like, they're 500 years old, both of them.
Yeah.
Rock was taking bumps like a motherfucker.
That's the other thing. So what is it?
Yeah, The Rock looked good. It didn't even feel like he
He
hasn't
looks
been wrestling.
amazing.
He hasn't had a match since the Mania that I saw them at, which was like 2013, I think.
Yeah, and it was like, what was it? I think Jen watched most of, if not all of that match. And I laughed because she was like, "Well, Rock's not doing anything," and I was like, for a minute, it felt like he wasn't. But no, you're 100% right. Like he came out, they got into
Did you
it.
see that
Mhm.
reaction when he takes the spear? Liam sent me like the screenshot of him just like holding his stomach and just like ah.
That has been used. It was so funny because yesterday, um, hell yeah, yesterday was no, yesterday was Tuesday. Whew, guys, I don't know what day is what anymore.
Oh,
Today is
man.
Wednesday, my dudes.
Today is Wednesday. That you saw, I had to double check that we were recording tonight.
2 minutes before.
So anyway, I've already been seeing that reaction, that particular reaction to the spear, in so many memes about
Hell yeah.
like farts and heartache and diarrhea and everything else. Like I think that has burned itself into the zeitgeist as of now.
Pepto Bismol should like put that in a commercial.
Oh my god, upset stomach. Oh, and then it's the Rock holding his gut. Oh, and then diarrhea. Like it's still just the Rock holding his gut.
Now, much as I love the Undertaker because he is my favorite wrestler ever, I do wish
Oh.
that it was Stone Cold instead of the Undertaker.
Well, I was just waiting on it. I was like, they're bringing all these dudes
Yeah.
out. Stone Cold's coming.
Because him and The Rock,
Wh-
it just felt like that's like they're ending some eras right there. Like that's kind of like the moment, and he's back. I mean, he had a match 2 years ago, so I was like, I don't know,
So,
maybe
like,
they just couldn't get him for some reason, but
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, we got Taker now. All right, it's next up is fucking Mick Foley and the Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake's gonna be the last one to come out. Like we're gonna
We
figure
all
this
would have been
out.
crying.
you heard that glass shatter, it would have been like insane.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Um,
But he comes out with Poncho, his cat from Instagram too. That would have made it. He just comes out with him in a little backpack.
I think wrestlers should come out now. Like, so there was a lot of talk about authenticity in those press conferences too, right? Being our authentic selves. Ripley, the first night, she was talking
Yeah.
about like what you're seeing is a character, but it's more and more of me and me
Yeah.
and me.
And you
I
can see
get
it.
it.
You see
I
her like
understand.
early wrestling. Like if you look at her when she first debuted in NXT till today, totally different person.
Mm-hmm. Entirely. But I love it. I love it because you're finding self through character. I know a couple of wonderful actors who can put themselves in their characters, and one of them's hanging out in our chat tonight. Amazing, amazing performance from our sheriff and the principal in Troma's Return to series. Let me tell you, Babette Bombshell's one
Babette.
of those. 100% puts self in character but loses self in character at the same time. That's heavy actor shit right there, man. Let me tell you. Not even playing. That's heavy actor shit. That's good stuff. But like the whole thing with that though, so many of them kept talking about authenticity and who we are, and there was one other big pop I got this weekend. Then maybe, I don't know, maybe we should talk about other things. But for me, one of the biggest things, and Triple H addressed it night 2 during the press conference. But dude, when Stephanie McMahon came out,
Yeah.
come on, I was a happy camper. I really,
I mean,
really
a lot of
was.
people were. She got a big pop out of it. It was good for her to kind of step out of the shadow of her dad too, and it's just like oh, this is Triple H's show. This is she's here to support.
But it's
yeah.
She, at least to what I've read, left because of a lot of
Yeah.
what Vince was doing.
Because she took
Didn't
over the
Vince-
company. So when he first retired, 2 years ago, before the scandal, or like when the scandal was something different, and he was like,
Right.
taking money from the company. She took over, but then he brought himself back to the company, and then she left again. She's like, all right, I'm done with this. So she hasn't been back since that time, and now so it's great to see her back. And
I was like, and it's not for me. It's not about, oh, there has to be a McMahon in the WWE. It's not about that. It's just like you look at everything she did, like through all of the different like little bits. You know what I mean? She came up in there. She grew up in it. It's obvious that whether you liked her or not, I mean, this woman took abuse in her 20s from literally like thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. It's like you're called a slut every Monday and Thursday night by thousands of people. Like you have to have some level of like fortitude.
And to still stick with it and then get the kind of power that she has now is pretty commendable.
And to understand its story, it's whatever, it's meaningless. If they're doing that, you're doing your job, and
you're gonna make more money.
Right. Yep. And but just to see her back and to see that that warmed me up. I think more than just about anything. I thought that was a bigger deal than Cody's story. I don't know. That for me it was anyway. I thought so.
So the biggest deal for me out of all of it was Bull Nakano.
Bull Nakano,
being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Of anything that was happening, people were like, Paul Heyman, blah blah blah. I was like, it's great that he can curse.
Yeah.
But Bull Nakano worked her ass off for so long on both sides of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yes. And she deserved that. She's deserved it for it's been a long time coming.
Yes. It's like I don't know. I think it's reached a point in society that nobody ever thought like wrestling would reach. It was always just that silly kind of regional thing, and what's drawn me back in is there is that continued level of like everybody watches wrestling, you know.
Yeah.
Whether it's at your local civic center and it's a bunch of toothless hillbillies, you know, hanging out on Saturday nights, or it's in some giant stadium on the world's biggest stage. Unless it's any of that stuff. It's there's a lot of community, a lot of theater, a lot of everything, and like the older I get, I guess the more I see the artistic value in wrestling. So I don't know.
That's why I love wrestling, man. It's the only thing is literally it's so unique to what it is, and you can literally do whatever you want, and it's all live, and wrestling is just incredible.
The greatest things, my favorite though, are still like those ridiculous like indie matches or like foreign matches. There's one, I love it. It's where a guy, and I don't know their names. They're definitely I think Japanese wrestlers, but the guy's up on the ropes. Other dude is charging at him. He stuffs his hand in his trunks and he pulls out a gun, but it's not a gun. It's just, oh no, it is. It's a real gun, or not a real gun. It's like a prop gun. He reaches into his pants, pulls out a gun, and starts holding everybody hostage inside the ring. Like 5 dudes start coming out. He's got them all hostage. And then he starts pointing it at the crowd, and all the crowd throws their hands up too, because they realize they're caught. They're hostage now. Everybody is. One of the funniest things. There was one I think you sent to me of it's just a guy fighting a tent.
Oh, that was a guy wrestling a tent. Classic. Kenny Omega in Japan wrestling a doll. There's also a really good match. Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan. Also one of my top favorite matches ever.
So good. The Orange Cassidy match where the guy puts him to sleep in the sleeper hold and he goes to cover him, but then when Orange kicks out, it's just him rolling over to his side so he could sleep more comfy. Picks him up, puts him to sleep.
He's one of the greatest actors in independent wrestling right now. I hate it that people give him so much shit.
I know. I love
he's
Orange
fantastic.
Cassidy. I love him so much. He's killing it in AEW, and I love it.
It's a great gimmick. It really is a great gimmick. It's so funny. And I think on a larger stage they get too wrapped up in storyline sometimes, and they forget like the level of fun that you can have.
That's what makes it. That's what makes wrestling great. It can literally be whatever it wants to be. It could be funny. It could be brutal. It can have like huge stories. You know, they have bad guys.
Yeah.
You know, it can literally just be whatever the fuck it wants to be. It could be literally just a referee and two invisible wrestlers, and it's still amazing. And nothing like that exists.
It can be so simple as just like, you know, I don't like you, you're the bad guy. It can be goofy and wild, or it can be straight up Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey, that's a transition right there.
And catch Totally Toonular every Saturday morning on Spotify, where your favorite cartoons used to be.